Hey guys, so overnight, and I didn't get to make a video last night, sorry guys, but overnight tonight, man, that was a really big swing. I don't know the last time I can remember. It's probably had to been maybe 2022 that we had before after hours at 8 p.m. closes, already the Qs or NQ was down a whole percent. That's a big drop very, very quickly. So we got most of it back and then we gave it right back. So pretty interesting day today. You know, yesterday we put in that new supply at 423.68. We have come down into my 414.5 target, and now I have 410.10, and then I have 405.07 and 404.26 as two potential downside targets. You can see we're in this really impressive bear channel right here. And realistically, the bulls need to take us back over about 416.7 tomorrow if they have any sort of upside hope. But as you can see, we are getting very far away from the daily 200 EMA now. The 8's under it, 20 is going to cross it tomorrow, and the 50 and the 100 are about to cross under. This is getting very, very bearish very, very quickly. I don't know why this is happening on TradingView now, but my news just keeps popping up here, and it is super annoying. So I'll try to clear this out as I talk here. But as you can see, going over, sorry, that was my 15-minute chart. That makes sense why it wasn't cleared out. But going over to our daily here on futures. So same thing, 8's under 200, 15 is coming under the 200, 50 and 100 about to cross under. So same thing here. We came down, we hit 41.56. We did bounce, didn't quite get under it though. So that's a level to watch. Next major downside target is 41.26, and then it's 40.75. So same thing, bulls are really going to need to get us all the way back up to 42.47. Obviously unlikely to happen tomorrow. There'll be a solid 100-point rally. You know, crazier things have happened. You know, this was about a 100-point day, I think, right here. Yeah, so this was 110-ish point day of movement. So it's possible, but very, very unlikely. So again, this is my target, 41.26. But if bulls can get somewhere closer to 41.87 tomorrow, we might get a new demand, take some levels out, and that could provide a little bit of a relief in the next week. Now, going over to the Qs, this is our first closure under the daily 200 EMA since March of 2023. Now, my next downside target is right here at 336.33. That is where I have my eye set right now. Now, again, I don't expect that tomorrow, but it is very notable that we got through this demand area right here. And now, as you can see, we closed in the 200 EMA. I do expect this to be a multi-day fight here, as that's generally what it is. However, we could, and this is kind of what I talk about multi-day fight here, we could just see some continuation into the sell-off. This is back-to-back big red days on the Qs and on SPY. So taking a look here, I would say minimally bulls need to get us back over 354.5, but ideally they need to break this bear channel, which is all the way up here at 354.1. Again, downside target is 336.3. Going over to NQ here, same thing. We are in our nice bear channel down here. Bulls are going to really need to be somewhere crazy up here in 14,720 area. But we have two downside supplies to look for, which is 14,110, 13,917, and then our demand is 13,728. Same thing, we did get below our double demand. We got below the 200 EMA. This looks pretty bearish going into tomorrow. Now, what I find super interesting here about the VIX is that the VIX has failed to break through 21.7 again. So again, 4 days ago when we tried to break through on 1023, we got rejected. But what are you seeing? You're seeing that markets still sold off today. So it's a little different. And honestly, the VIX is actually only about 1.5% higher than it was the last, or the VIX is 1.5% higher than the close on 1023. Yet SPY is almost 2% lower, and the Qs has got to be at least 4% lower. So barely a 1% move up total on the VIX over 4 days has brought almost 2 full percent of downside movement. So what we're seeing here is realistically, if we go back to September 21st, the VIX is just in a big about $5 range. Now, if you look at SPY now, back to September 21st, or let's go even the 20th here, you can see what? Massive downside. Yes, we had some ranging and a little bit of bounce, but this was a really nice 1, 2, 3 drop down. So again, VIX is holding steady and relatively flat here, but we are seeing markets continue to sell off. This is what we saw in 2022, and I keep saying that this market reminds me a lot of early 2022 with these massive 50-point or $5 up and down swings intraday, and the fact that we're seeing the VIX not really rocket with a big downside day. I mean, generally speaking, a negative 1% day and a negative 2% day down on SPY, that used to be a 10 to 15% day on the VIX. But, yesterday we had the same thing, even redder day yesterday. The VIX barely closed a 6% day. A 6% day before used to be a nothing. We could close green on SPY. So this is a very interesting trend to keep watching. Overall, I mentioned this about exactly a month ago today, that we were, nearing the thought of our next bear market. We are officially 50% of the way to a new bear market. Qs were down 10% and SPY was down about 9.9% off its high of the year. So 10% more down, and we will see the next bear market. Now, do I think that's going to happen before end of year? Honestly, at this point, guys, I really have no idea. So we're going to have FOMC next week. So far, earnings have come in, and let's take a look here and see what old Amazon's doing after hours here. So Amazon's holding basically flat, nothing crazy, but so my point is that earnings have come in pretty not great. Guidance have been relatively okay and not super great. Most of these, even Meta took a big hit last night and whatnot. So with earnings not coming in super, super hot, and now we have FOMC next week, it'll be interesting to see how J. Powell steers this market. There's a real scenario where J. Powell could, I don't think that the odds of him cutting are even remotely on the table for this meeting, realistically wise. But there's a really strong odds that we do pause and that he could give some dovish guidance going forward. We might be thinking more about rate cuts now that markets kind of dropping and whatnot, and UE going up and things like that. So this FOMC next week is going to be very interesting, and I really do think it could set the tone for the next couple months here into the end of the year. All right, guys, I hope you guys had a good day trading today, and I will see you guys tomorrow.